Hi everyone, this is Alan Rosinski of Metro Manhattan Office Space. Good evening. Now, do you think this is any time for a landlord to open a new major office building in New York City? Well, you know what the answer is. These are not the best of times. That being said, you have a 1.5 million square foot Class A modern office building, One Vanderbilt, which was just opened by the landlord and developer SL Green. It's located immediately west of Grand Central Terminal. It's north of 42nd Street between Vanderbilt and Madison Avenue. It's about 1.5 million square feet. It's 1,401 feet tall. It's got 67 stories. It's got fewer stories than most office buildings of a comparable height because the ceilings are 14 to 20 feet, so each floor has a really loft-like feel. In any event, it's going to be an uphill battle to complete leasing on that building, but fortunately, SL Green has about 72% of the building leased. Among the largest tenants are TD Bank, another firm called the Carlyle Group, several very large national law firms. So they got about 28% to lease, and that's going to be a bit of a project. But, I'm very confident that that building's going to do well, and given time, it'll be fully leased. And, you have to understand why it was built in the first place. Grand Central Station, or the area around Grand Central Terminal, has mostly older office buildings. And any company which wants to be in a state-of-the-art Class A property, they're going to have to go to areas like Hudson Yards, One World Trade Center, 7 World Trade Center, and Lower Manhattan. There's really not any very modern office space in the vicinity of Grand Central Terminal in Midtown East. So SL Green, this was very well thought, took maybe a little bit of a gamble, but not so much by putting up this building, which I think construction was started in 2015, 2016, and it was in the context of a Midtown East rezoning. There were attempts to rezone a very large area around Grand Central, I think about 72 blocks in 2013, which failed. And once Mayor de Blasio came into office, announced with SL Green plans to put up One Vanderbilt, and there would be a quarter around Vanderbilt which would be rezoned to allow modern high-rise development of commercial space. Now you may ask, why am I confident that the vacant 400,000 or 500,000 square feet in this building are going to eventually be leased? I'll tell you why. Because you have a building which is just in a prime location. A lot of people are going to want to reduce their commute in this environment. And the Long Island Railroad is going to be stopping at Grand Central starting in 2022. So for commuters who are coming in from Connecticut, Long Island, other areas, they can just get out of Grand Central and walk to a brand new building. Also, there's really nothing like it. There are no state-of-the-art modern Class A buildings unless you really want to go to Hudson Yards. It's, the quality is comparable. And, for major corporations, they're going to take the long view on the market. What's happening in the next 6 months or a year with pandemic, fewer people commuting, their time frame is different than smaller businesses. They're going to be looking 10 years, 15 years out, and they're going to view this as an opportunity to snap up Class A modern office space in Midtown East when there's not much of it. Now, One Vanderbilt is on the scale of the Empire State Building. I think it's about the same height. Like the Empire State Building, it's going to have an observatory, which I think opens next year, which is going to generate very, very substantial revenue. But unlike the Empire State Building, which I think was built, the construction was completed in 1931, and the Chrysler Building, which was completed in 1930. I think both buildings, it took them years and years to fully lease them. I don't think they pre-leased to a large extent, and construction was completed in the height of the Great Depression. Whereas One Vanderbilt, you have it 72% leased, and even despite current conditions, it's a very, very desirable building in a terrific location. I mean, it's very, very beautiful. I live on the Upper East Side, and I remember in the 60s looking down, and this thing was a real eyesore. You can see it in Central Park. It just looked awful. And now that it's completed with Aspire, it's just a really stunningly beautiful building. So we will see what the market holds. I mean, overall, it's going to be difficult for the commercial real estate market in the next few years. Certainly, vacancy rates are going to rise greatly for generic Class B and and certain A buildings and C buildings, but the top-notch buildings, like any quality property, are going to suffer less. Hope you find this video interesting. If you have any questions, please feel free to tweet them to me. My Twitter handle is at Metro Manhattan, and of course, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a nice evening until the next time.